Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Allah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah.
La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah.
Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala al-falah. Hayya ala al-falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Allah.
La ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astadihi wa astaghfiruhu wa umminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. As-salahu bil huda wa din al-haq liyadhiruhu ala din kulihi walau karihal mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him. We seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent Him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. This way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأوثق الأمور كلمة التقوى وخير الملال ملة إبراهيم وخير السنن سنة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله وأحسن القصص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوزموها وشير الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما الأمة دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفاء وخير الهادي ما أتباعها وشير الأمة أما الكلب. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the community is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah yahmuru bil-adli wal-ihsani wa-itai dhil-qurba wa-yanha nil-fashai wal-munkari wal-bagi ya'itakum la'alakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice, and He instructs you that you may receive admonition. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu wattaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutuna illa wa antum muslimun. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of Islam. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nasi ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best peoples ever raised up for mankind, enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong, and in believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. It is related on the authority of Thawban radiallahu anhu that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said about being pleased on the doomsday, that if a person says this dua 3 times in the morning and in the evening, he would be granted paradise. Basically, it's I'm satisfied with Allah as Lord, with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the messenger, and al-Islam Medina. So this person is going to be granted a special place, a gift, because in his heart is opened up to a certain message. That means his behavior would follow the heart. I remember a hadith that Umar went to visit one of the believers that was dying. And he laid on his bed sideways all the time. And this person was always looking behind a pillow over there. And when the person died, they looked behind the pillow, and there was a bag of gold. And they felt very bad for him because, say, at his time of death, his eyes, his mind, his heart was on that bag of gold instead of the hereafter. And so they know they're not judges, they're not in command of anything, but they felt sad for that person because the collective understanding of Islam usually points to where your heart is at, then your behavior will follow. And at the time of death, instead of reciting Shahada and other ayats in Quran, this person's mind and his vision was on that bag of money. He's like most of us, I'm sure. But now, this has given us some guidance here. It's a big evolutionary step when a person really reaches this stage in his heart, that he's satisfied with Allah as Lord. It's very comprehensive because that means he's satisfied with everything the Quran says. He's satisfied with the laws and guidelines and regulations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has established in the creation. He's satisfied with everything that comes from Allah. He's satisfied with that. That means he's down with that all the way. Not only is he satisfied, he has accepted it gladly. So he's satisfied with Allah as Lord. And then Al-Islam Medina. This day have I perfected for you your religion or your way of life for you, and I have chosen for you Al-Islam Medina, as your way, as your pattern of behavior. I've not only established it, but I have perfected it step by step, and it's made just right for you. Al-Islam Medina. And I have given you a demonstrator of that excellence. You know, in the old days, you used to, if you were going to buy a new car, they had a demonstrator on the showroom floor. And you could take that demonstrator and drive it around to feel how, well, in those days it was Cadillacs and now it's Benzes. You could drive it all up and down hills, around corners to see how that boy handled. It demonstrates to you that new car and its behavior and its braking systems and the characteristics of it. So we have a demonstrator in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As An-Nabiyyin, he's the last of the Anbiya. And it calls him Kafata and Lil Nas. That means the messenger to all people. And Khatam and Nabiyyin, the seal, the last of the prophets. So now we're satisfied with Allah's creation and all of the day. We're satisfied with that. We're satisfied with Islam and its rules, regulations, and guidelines because we know that in that is aid, guidance, salvation for us. And we believe that the one that demonstrates, that shows how it works, is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, the Quran mentions prayer all the time, but it never shows you how to pray. Although prayer is that important, I think it mentions Salat and Zakat probably 82 times in the Quran. I mean together, so you know how many. But it don't have no diagrams and no pictures and no nothing on how to pray. Where do you learn to pray? The Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The books of fiqh and hadith are this thick on the section of salat, right? So you don't go to the Quran. You go to the Quran to find out you're supposed to pray, but you go to the hadith, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his practice to see how it is done, right? Okay. So we're satisfied with Allah as Lord, with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as his messenger, and the deen of Islam, Al-Islam Medina. I'm going to get started here now, and I want to read this is from a, little book. We keep date books and stuff all the time. This is from, looks like 1686. Yeah, that means that's the 1986. That's over 35 years ago. So on that day we ran Chabot. Chabot is a serious run. Lake Chabot has a serious run. You're running up in the hills and then you run to a lake, run around that lake, up some more hills, down and around, and get back to where you started. That is a series that's about 13-mile run, at least. But when you're young, it's okay. But now when we got back to the Masjid, we found out that says notebooks missing, 4 notebooks, and accordion folder missing. Now I write here, and the brothers have seen it, I write big victory. Big victory. And of course nobody knew what it meant until I mentioned it a few years ago. So now it's 1986. It's clear the behavior of the United States government. We're in Oakland now. This is in Oakland. So what's a big victory then about this? We see that Boss Man is 100% in our business. Always have been, but he is serious in it. And from time to time, he photographs, moves around, because I'm pretty good at record keeping. What I did today, how much it have, how much we paid for food that day, how much did everything. Because it was, good God Almighty, it was pretty cheap in those days. Because for food we spent $3.48. You know that's a while back. You can't buy a package of chewing gum for that now. Tell the truth, it's pitiful. But I don't want to get into that. That's not the subject. The subject is accordion folders are missing. Boss Man is in our business. Why do I call it a big victory? You've heard about a lot of our subjects. Psychological guerrilla warfare, strategic management under conditions of repression, and all of that, right? So that means that Boss Man has read and he's going to keep up on everything I'm reading and writing, and he's going to basically follow what I'm saying. But now all I got to do is get a model where I'm not 100% writing what's happening upstairs and what I'm doing, because he's watching everything. So I'm going to be from 90 to 95% accurate. Therefore, he's going to study me in detail. Not only everything I do, listen on the fall, he's going to do all of that. And I know it because y'all done heard everything we say. You can just pull out your chart and see how often does this guy write. That's all you got to do. So we started, this is a technique then, because we had to figure, we knew we were surrounded as a community. The people in the community is kind of government agents, like every other group or movement or organization. Here in the United States, I don't care what you think. I'm just telling you what I've learned from experience, what they did to not only Black Panthers, but anybody else. And the Negroes you see on the news, it's a government Negro. I'm just telling you. It's not, no, I'm fighting for justice for the black people. Whether it's old Uncle Sharpton with his half hair done up there rhyming, he rhymed worse than old Messy Jesse did. You know, get old, so they put him in the retirement home. But the old dumb talking lawyer, what is that guy's name? I'll think his name in a minute. You see him on TV, all the civil rights case. We just want justice for black people, right? That's the way the Negro talk. He can speak English. You just got to be paying close attention to figure out what he's saying. But he's the biggest civil rights attorney they got now. Everybody go to him. Why are they pointing to him? Why are they pointing to him? Because he's their man. And whatever the case it is, they're going to run it in his direction. And he's going to collaborate with them. Sometimes he's going to win big cases, keep his name big. But sometimes he's going to give key little things that make him lose the case because the government wants that case. So they got the ones already in line. They want to win. We got to have this one. So he said, just check that off. You got to throw that, just like a fight. Okay, you got to throw that fight. We're going to keep you at championship level, but you got to throw this fight. Then there's another one down the way, and you got to throw that. That's the way the legal system works in America. You can think anything you want. You can think if I get a good lawyer, I'm going to win. And if I get a bum lawyer, they work that out before you get in there. Because when you walk into court, the judge, the prosecution, right, and the defense, they go to all the same clubs and everything, right? You the only one in there that ain't on that team. They all get paid by the same government, right? They all, the prosecutor is there, and he rolling his eyes at the defense, and the defense is rolling his eyes at them, and then at night they go out and have a drink together. Isn't that right? That's the way it goes. They all belong to the same clubs, and they go out and they lack the same kind of everything. They on the same team, the government's team. But they tell you, no, this is the defense, right? And that's the prosecution, and that's the judge. If the judge catch you trying to say something right, they're going to say, stop right there. And he's going to recite a couple of pages or something to keep you quiet, right? That's if you're on your own attorney, which a lot of times when I go to court, I be my own lawyer so I can say what I want to say. But you ain't going to say everything you want to say because the guy is on your case. But anyway, now, getting back to this right here. 1986, we had to figure out a system. We're under watch all the time, so we got to see. Now they steal my folders. Of course, they always read your stuff. When you go to run or wherever you go, they read your notes. You can't take them with you, running around with a bunch of notes. So, what we're going to do, we're going to set Boss Man up. So we set him up. Everything comes from Allah, but the reason we're here right now talking out of the side of our mouth, because dumb boss man, wherever I'm at, is reading everything I got and listening to every one of these talks, and I'm going to be 95% accurate all the time. But that other 5%, he ain't going to know nothing about. And you have to be almost deadly accurate so he can't tell the difference. See, 95% truth is just about the truth, So, he don't know. He don't know because you don't tell him. And nobody else can tell him because you're not telling them. So you're in charge of the whole process. It reminds me of when we was in, not Dar es Salaam, but we was up in Arusha and in Tanzania. That's right near Mount Meru, not far from Kilimanjaro. You can see Kilimanjaro when you go outside. So, of course, this is Jahiliyyah now, this part of it. So we go in the bar at night. And when I would get up in the morning, I would see this guy. I would get up early, around 6 o'clock, he coming in. Then he would be there all day. Then he would, at nighttime, he would be in the bar. Now, everybody worked like that. So I was calculating. I said, man, when do you sleep? No, when I go after this close. I said, this ain't going to close to 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, right? Maybe even 2 o'clock on the weekend, and you got to be back here at 6. Yeah. I said, how much they pay you at that time? I get paid 2 shillings, a good salary. Well, everybody else got paid 1 shilling. So you got 7 shillings per dollar. In those days, you might get 1,000 shillings per dollar now. But anyway, here's what happened. My friend was a bartender, you know, and we was at the bar. He said, here's what you do. He said, when boss man come in, what is going to happen? How does he know how much you sold? He says, I'm going to tell him that. He said, that's right. He don't know. He said, here's what I want you to do. I said, he said, you just take me and him buying a drink apiece. That's 2 shillings each. That's more money he make in 4 or 5 days. So we say, you take that money there and put it in your pocket. No, but boss man will know. My friend said, he's a bartender. He said, how will he know? I'm going to tell him. That's right. You're going to tell him. So he said, now here's what you do. You take a couple of shots just going to make you rich for Tanzania. Take a couple of shots, put them in each drink, each bottle, and call it a day. The next night we went in. Now the bartender guy is studying the bar, and so the bartender told him, you got to slow down and take it easy. You got to get this money last night, and now you're getting happy. How you know? He said, see that label? He said, last night, that Johnny Walker, the whiskey was straight on that label. He said, now it's above that label. So he's a bartender. He said, now, don't do that no more. For each bottle, after this goes by, you're going to get rich off this right here. He said, all you do is put 1 or 2 shots, little bitty shots, in each one, and that's your hustle. Right? So whatever you sell, you subtract them 2 or 3 shots from each bottle. And it worked, man. The guy saw us some months later. Boy, he was happy and rolling. I said, don't get too happy. And don't get too loose. You grinning too much, keep that same old pitiful look when you had to get up early in the morning and struggle in there, right? And go home at night and get up with 4 hours sleep. Back to work for another 20 hours, 18 hours, something way up there. And ain't getting paid for it, nothing. So now he's stealing a little. He didn't got the Negro game, the bartender game. Because if you bartend, it's just like if you selling somebody's dope, he can't sit there and count how much. And if you just mix a little bit with it, right, and repackage it, nobody knows. Why? Because it's a little bit. But a little bit over a period of time adds up to a lot. So what I'm telling you is the game that we had acquired over the years have made it possible for us to shade and shift what's really going on, a small percentage. Not white men, I know what you're doing, and I'm tired of it. No. You say, oh, boss man, you know everything. Man, you got it going on, and you shift it just a little bit. If you can't tell, hardly you know he can't tell, because it's all in your mind. So I'm telling you now about the beginning of a strategic management under conditions of repression. We're here in America, and we have to devise a plan and a system to move forward here in America. Before, all our people wanted to shoot it out with the police. That ain't gonna work. That's when they start, that's where those tactical weapons, SWAT team came from. Y'all may not remember, it was a while back. But all them SWAT teams came from black snipers back in those, not white snipers, black snipers back in the day. That's where special weapons, tactical squads came from those days. The snipers back in the early 70s and late 60s. Okay, now here you and I are. We got to have a serious plan. Why do we know? If you go back to Marcus Garvey's time, does anybody know who Agent 800 was? Anybody? Yeah, first FBI informant. Negro informant, right? Agent 800. That was in 1919, 1920, 1922. When they formed the FBI, have the FBI changed? No. Their job is still the same. Keep down the Red Scare of 1919 and all of that. Keep down all of those movements that might try to change this America the Great, as they was calling it, right? Okay. So you have to study your environment. Well, we here because Allah wanted us to be here, not because of luck. We're not here because we're lucky, you know. And talking out of the side of our mouth like we do every week all the time, you have to think about what you're doing. Why they don't do nothing today? Because we set stuff up years ago for this. Not too heavy, but 1, 2, 3. So now if anything happens, they go back. You can go back and you can come up and you can see after 5 or 10 years ago, we start hitting real heavy and real hard, right? Calling names, dates, places, and everything some years ago. That's because we had set it up already to do that. Why? Because boss man sets up everything he do. And we learn why we call this a big victory. 37 years ago, 35 years ago, yeah, it was 36 years ago. Why is it a big victory? Because now we got it set in our mind and in our heart what the rest of life is going to be about here in America. That's all it is. Boss man, he done showed you. He gonna read everything you got. He gonna study everything you got. He gonna fill up your masjid with tattletales and stool pigeons. You can't get around it. Therefore, how you gonna operate in that environment? You're gonna operate off goals and guidelines that you set. That's why we say now we're satisfied with Allah as Lord, with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as his messenger, and al-Islam Medina. We're satisfied with that. We're happy with that. Just because other people are not happy with it don't have nothing to do with us. Because we can't make them do nothing. Now we'll get into the subject for today. Name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Well, you see, I can see a little bit now. It's getting better when I get the new glasses. Because boss man give you some semi-glasses when you go get them. Then they get better. So this is the third pair. The next pair will probably be right on the money. Okay. Thus we explain the signs in detail, and perchance they may turn unto us. That means the signs are shown to the people so that they have a chance or opportunity to turn to Allah. Now look what goes on. Relate to them the story of the man to whom we sent our signs, but they passed them by. So Satan allowed him or followed him, and he went astray. So now this is a person or these people, they sent signs. Boss man has sent signs too. The boss man has convinced me that he is the biggest idiot in history. The idiots that you read about in Quran, he's bigger than them. Why? But he's the same, but he got high tech now. Why? He got libraries everywhere. Why he can't remember what's going on? Why he don't know what's going on? Why they got statistics on everything? Why they can't study the rainfall and manage, why they can't do all of that? It's because what the Quran says. Relate to them the story of the man who we sent our signs. He passed them by. Then Satan followed him up and he went astray. The shaitan, our old friend. Our old friend. I know you like him, but with the Quran. And the devil will say when the matter is decided, surely Allah promised you a promise of truth. I promised you, but I lied to you. I had no authority over you except that I called you and you obeyed. So blame me not, but blame yourself. I cannot come to your help, nor can you come to my help. I deny your act of associating me with Allah before. This is to me, the shaitan. If you think he's dirty now, you ought to wait till the day of judgment, because this is what he's going to say. You talking about a snitch standing up in the courtroom? He did it. I was there with him. He told me that get that man 50 years to go to the penitentiary. Right? That's the shaitan. He going to jump up on the day of judgment. Soon as you say, oh, I was just Moses alone. The devil going to say, this is what he says. Allah promised you a promise of truth. He going to be on the prosecution's team. Allah promised you a promise of truth. Didn't you have the Quran? You're the shaitan going to say, I lied to you. What does it say about me? That's what I do. I'm down with lying, doubling up, chipping, coming in the back door. I lied to you. I had no authority over you except that I called you and you obeyed me. So blame me not. Don't blame me. Blame yourself. I can't come to your help. I can't help you today. And you can't help me. And then he brings in shirk. Now this is the final nail in the coffin. I deny your act of associating me with Allah. Association. He gonna blame you for shirk. You made me your God. Man, I'm the devil. I'm shaitan. I deny your act of associating me with shirk, associating me with Allah. And then he's going to say, that's almost conviction. Surely for the unjust is a painful chastisement. How much every time you get in the fire, you had that coming, man. You had that coming. You associated me with a lie. You had a book of telling you this guy is deceivious, he's deceptive, he's slippery, watch out for him. And all of my characteristics. It's like it was a wanted poster on the post or thing, right? And it said, this is the shaitan. He got a red mustache, he got big feet, he got bubble eyes, and then he got a twisted tongue. And he walked like this. And here I come, walking like this, big teeth sticking all out, and you listening to me. Boy, that's bad. You should have knew better than that. That's what the shaitan, that's what the Quran says that he's going to say. I deny your act of associating me with Allah. Surely for the unjust is a painful chastisement. Not a chastisement, good God Almighty. Now, I'm just telling you, just in case, Because we all going to show up on the day of judgment. So if anybody pop up telling all your business, that's the shaitan. Allah already know your business. He going to be there collaborating, because this is what it says right here. Relate to them the story of the man who we sent our signs, but he passed them by and followed them up, and they went astray. If it had been our will, we would have elevated him with our signs. If it was Allah's will, he would have saw the signs and said, yeah, man, this is deep. Elevated him with our signs. But he inclined to the earth and followed his own desires, his nafs. The greatest thing in the struggle for freedom and liberation is tazkiyah bil nafs, the purification of the nafs. Isn't that right? Boy, that's a big job. Now his similitude is that of a dog. If you attack him, he lolls out his tongue. If you leave him alone, he lolls out his tongue. This is a similitude to those who reject our signs. Relate the story, perchance they may reflect. So that's all I'm doing. I'm telling you the story. Maybe you'll think about it. Maybe you might pull off a few good ones before you go to sleep tonight. It's up to you. But shaitan is real. Shaitan is not no little old pitchfork man with a red suit on and a little pointed tail right in the bottom of the ground. The shaitan is in and around you everywhere. Isn't that right? Yeah. That's why tazkiyah bil nafs, highest level in Islam, one of the highest levels. The purification of nafs. What nafs? Self. The purification of yourself. Tazkiyah bil nafs in politics. Tazkiyah bil nafs in association, in work and what have you. Okay, let me move on. Because, dear believers, we are living in a world right now that this crackpot, or these group of crackpots that's running the world, is absolutely crazy. They don't listen to nothing. They are not trying to fix nothing. If the highway system is falling apart, so what? I was listening to the news and talk show this morning, the Colorado River, and all them big lakes up there behind those big dams are going dry. I remember when I first used to travel around the country, they used to have to open them spillways and the water would be shooting out like 81, 82 and all that. It was a different climate then. Those were the last days of natural climate in America. Everywhere in the world, right? The climate then took a turn. But they're not listening. Those are ayats, isn't that right? If every year California burns up, I was out there before, last time I was there. When I flew into Oakland, the news said it was 500 fires in that region. Actually, it was 750 in the region. Last time I drove across the country, or when I would drive across the country sometime, when I'm on Highway 80, when I leave Salt Lake City, you got 13, 14 hours before you get to San Francisco and Oakland, and you see all of that smoke coming from Oregon, hundreds of miles away, crossing the highway. Smoke, real smoke. It ain't no like a little fumes. That was 10, 15 years ago. What kind of science do... This is people that are blind. They're not just missing a little bit of vision. These boys is blind. And they'll take you and your children with them. These rich and wealthy people are not slowing down. They're not taking it easy. And they will take you, your wife, and your children with them. It's your duty, it's your responsibility now, while we still got time. This earth that we live on, Allah created this. If you want balance, mizan back in it, right, we got to do it. They're not going to do it. Why? Because they following the shaitan. The shaitan is leading them in everything. And no matter how many billions they got, they need more billions. And another billion. And another 20 or 30 billion. Right? While you starving to death. You know, we fix food a lot here. So we're aware of food prices. Do you know? Well, I guess you do know. Everybody goes to the store. It's insanity. And they don't increase your salary. They talking about a livable wage. We got to give people $15 an hour. The only time I remember $15 an hour in 1978. 1978, decades ago, my relatives used to work at a place called Superstructure Shipbuilding in California. They made $15 an hour. Then, $15 an hour is enough for you to catch the bus and get back home. And you got to, if you work at McDonald's, you're going to have to have a bag with you if you're going to eat, you're going to feed your children. You got to stuff your bag before you leave. Or you'll starve to death because you can't afford that food. Right? It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm not going to tell you about the old days. Oh, those big grocery carts, the shopping. Well, I guess that was a long time ago. I mean, when I was just this, $20 a day, $20 a week. If you go in a store and you bring out $20 worth of stuff, you either got it in your hand directly or a little bitty bag, right? $20. Anyway, let me get on. Actually, I'm going to move the water close. I'm going to fool everybody. Because y'all think I like to talk a lot. I don't like to talk a lot. I just be, okay. So, also the Quran says there are signs in the universe, ayat, right? And there are signs in yourselves. That's what the Quran says. Okay, so when you look out at this world in which we live in, you see unity, harmony, and discipline, right? You see mizan, awazan, you see balance, right? You see the sun, the moon, the stars, everything's floating along and doing its own job, and you see the earth turning at 1,037 and 1/3 miles per hour, turning around. Now they talk about the thing is trying to slow down and speed up. You got to watch Boss Man. You give him time, he'll mess up everything. Everything. He's almost done it. We got to put our hands on that Boss Man system. You got to stop, man. My wife and children, you'll kill them all. And it's your job because you're a grown man, right? You got to stop this bum. It's a war. It's a war on the defenseless, trees, grass, water. They can't defend themselves. I will tell you this. We was over at the other place, and I was listening to the radio, and they made a big discovery, National Public Radio. He said, the earth is alive. We have discovered that the earth is alive. I said, boy, these white folks is something. You talking about slow. If they couldn't figure out before that's 1997 that this thing we're living on is alive, then they got a problem. And we got a problem being on this earth with him and he's running things. That he finally come up, I'm telling you, it was a big notice. Look back in National Public Radio. Big discovery we have discovered. I said, what did they discover? I was listening. The earth is alive. I said, if I could get out of here, I'd be gone now. Right this minute. If I could push a button and be in a rocket ship going anywhere away from him, because he ain't playing. All right, I'm going to move the water close, but listen to this, dear please. They're always telling us that you can't fight City Hall. You can't fight the system. This is a lie. How long any of y'all been here and we've been talking trash to the government? And ain't nothing happened. Nobody else is, right? And get with this, we're not bragging, but we're 98% correct. That's pretty good. That means if we was playing baseball, we would be batting not 350, which is good. We would be batting 998. Where would they put us? In the Hall of Fame? 3 times. This guy get 3 visits to the Hall of Fame. Look, picture here, picture there, right? Tell the truth. And some of you have been here to hear it and see it. Why are we here? We're here, I'm going to tell you what I believe, that every now and then, somebody get a little special care. And when I was coming up, they knocked over all of my friends, everybody, all of them, they all dead and gone a long time ago. The black movement, and they killed them everywhere. Sometime on the streets, sometime at the university, sometime they knocked off overseas. People went into exile. Boss man slipped on over there and knocked them off. But I trust boss man. I say, you trust boss man, good for you, good for you. I say, you're going to tell on everybody? Yes, I'm going to tell on everybody, and then boss man look out for me. I say, he'll look out for you just like Salman Rushdie. Now, I done told y'all this 1,000 times. When you can't tell on nobody else, boss man going to get hold to you and throw you on the cell block with everybody you told on. Isn't that right? Tell the truth. That's what he do. All right, we know that. I don't care whether you Noriega or whoever you are. When they finish with you and you can't do nothing else for them. I remember old Noriega was telling Reagan, Mr. President, I just need it. And Reagan said, my hands is tied. His hands was tied. He couldn't do nothing for him. I don't want to go with you. I know. You think I don't know how this is working? I can't help you. He said the same thing the devil gonna say to y'all. I can't help you and you can't help me. I deny your act of associating me with God. I deny you making me a big president and you did everything I told you. And now the people trying to kill you and get rid of you. Hey man, my hands is tied. But anyway, there's, and I'm gonna move toward a close with that, something we can use. We use it all the time. We don't want to go into it in detail, but all of y'all is well aware of what they call it, post-traumatic syndrome, something like that, right? There's another thing called post-traumatic growth. And I'll move toward a close on that. What is post-traumatic growth? Post-traumatic growth means that when you go through a traumatic experience, you evolve and you grow and your defenses improve. It's called post-traumatic growth. That's been our big help. We knew it existed, but we had to try it out. We've tried it out, it works. Post-traumatic growth. You go through the struggle with whatever your big opposition is. You're going to get smarter, you're going to get stronger, you're going to get more discipline, you're going to get more resiliency, you're going to get more bounceability, stickability, all those things you're going to get. That's what they call now in modern parlance and writing, post-traumatic growth. That you go through trauma, right? And you're going to grow for it. Grow from it. They got everybody jumping off bridges and shooting themselves, talking about what do they call it? Post-traumatic something or other. Post-traumatic stress. You know, they got another one they just come out with 5-10 years ago, talking about slavery, post-traumatic slavery syndrome. Any of y'all heard that? WPF, y'all ever heard that? Y'all, WPFW, y'all ain't been here. Yeah, that we spent so much time in slavery that we can't adjust to modern times. That's because they're not trying. Post-traumatic growth means that if you want to learn how to be resilient and to bounce back, do the things that make you do it. That you have to get stronger. You have to get smarter. That's what we did when Boss Man was stealing our stuff back in 1986. We said, well, we in it now. And then they gave us a clue about how to deal with Boss Man. And we've been whooping Boss Man's behind ever since. Slapping him upside the head and kicking him in his behind. Yes, in public. Just like we're doing now. Why you think they don't put us on TV no more? Remember last time they put us on the TV with, what was that old Sean Hannity? Tell the truth. Remember? Made him look like a fool. They said, no more niggas on TV. Not these real Muslims. Right? Because everybody else get on there, their teeth is chattering. You know, all our immigrant brothers and friends, teeth chattering. I got on there and what I tell him, I said, not only you following George Bush, he's a dummy and you a dummy for following him, right? Clip. No more Imam Musa on TV. Why? Because they thought they had us trapped and we laid in there like, I'm going to close in a second. I guess you're going to say something provocative, Imam Musa. I said, sure. Well, I just remembered before. Remember Samuel Arian was on there? They trapped him into saying something. Then they put him in jail, remember? So I'm going to go Negro on him. See, this is important. You got to use what God give you. The only place nobody can go is where the Negro go. You go Negro on them. So Sean Hannity, you're going to say something provocative, aren't you, Imam Musa? I'm looking at him. Why, I sure am. I just turn on the camera. I'm just going to be so provocative, I ain't going to know what to do. And slapped him all around. People still got that video now, passing it around, right? Still going around now. That's 97. And you knew what was going on because going up, they had all the people on the train in New York. And I'm going to close with this. But Imam Musa will send someone to pick you up and ride the train with you to New York. I said the person you're going to send is not a white girl around 35 years old, is she with big legs? When I got to the train over there, they didn't send her here because I told her, don't send over a white woman here to pick me up because they figured he's a nigga, he got to like white girls, especially the big fat legs. You know, the white girls, they can't get their legs in them boots, they had, stuff like that. So I said, but then we're going to ride the train together to New York. No, she's just your escort. I said, she's going to sit on that side of the train. I'm going to sit on this one. She can't sit over here with me. I'm not going to have y'all white folks taking a picture of me and her, and they're going to take the picture where it looked like I'm holding a hand. Maybe I'm just holding the briefcase up too high, but it's going. I said, oh, no, I ain't letting y'all white folks trap me. Then when we got there, well, you were a drug dealer, Imam Musa? And I looked at his cameraman. They all love blow, cocaine. I said, yes, I was down in South America, and I sold the best cocaine in the United States for Negroes. And if you wanted rock, hit you heavy, I got it for you, had it for you. If you wanted flake, ting-a-ling-a-ling, you remember them? Y'all don't know. Ting-a-ling-a-ling, you know when you snort that high quality blow, you hear that ting-a-ling-a-ling back there. And so I said, yeah, I used to sell the highest quality cocaine in California. And on top of that, I sent some back here to y'all. And the cameraman was definitely cocaine snorters. That's what I wanted to see, who I'm dealing with. So when I'm telling them about cocaine and how good it was, their eyes is big. They want to ask me, you got any with you? That's what they want to say, because they figure you don't really quit. Here's what we're trying to tell you, believers, and we'll close with this. We're in a big, serious mess right now that we didn't create. The earth is not going to survive another 10, 20, 30 years of boss man, right? He is on a roll to finish this thing off. Now, for me, it's no problem. I'm 77, so in 30 years I'll be 107, or something like that. And I might make it, when people getting old nowadays, I might make it. But I ain't going to be getting around and jumping up and down, but your kids will be 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. Your grandchildren will be 6 years old, 7 years old, and 8 years old, right? Stuff like that. It's your duty to fix this world so they'll be able to live and breathe. Leave it to Congress then. That's right. We'll leave it to Congress. They'll help. You can't trust that old Congress, isn't that right? Tell the truth. The best Congress money can buy. That's what white folks say. They ain't going to do it. And I'll close with this. Let's buckle down. Nobody ever expected the Negro to do anything worthwhile except build America. I mean, that's one thing. But I mean, on free will, we have to fix this world. You can't leave it on the immigrant community. The immigrant community begged the white man to get here. He ain't going to start no fight with the boss man. Maybe their children, the children in university now, they're different than their parents. But all the parents, they wanted to get here, get a big piece of America, and keep their mouth shut. That's not bad. You know why? I'm going to give you an example. When we got in trouble with the boss man over here, and we ran to Africa, do you know, no matter how much oppression we saw in Africa, we couldn't speak out about it. You know why? Because the government let us live there. So we're from a revolutionary environment. We was revolutionary over here. But when we was in Africa, we were quiet. I don't care whether it was Tanzania. I don't care whether it was Zambia. I don't care whether it was Algeria. Wherever we were quiet, lip sealed, because we asked them to come there. They allowed us to come there, so we ain't got nothing to say. And we looked at the Wananchi, the poor people, how the government treat them. It was bad as how boss man treat us here sometime. Right? Okay. But now is our turn to do something. So I'm just asking you, let's give it a shot. They can't do nothing but boiling oil, stuff like that, little stuff. It won't hurt long. You can't boil over a minute or two, then they'd be dead, right? They can't run you crazy. Do like I do. I'll run them crazy. Talk trash. Do the Negro on them. Use what your old people learned way back in the day, right? We have that ingrained in us. So they can't make us mad. Why? Because we're pro-life. Hey, that sounds good. Pro-life, that means we for living and living good and living a high-quality life. You can't live no high-quality life just getting in a bus and driving it down the street for the white man or digging a ditch for a boss man. There ain't nothing bad about it. That's all the people, the jobs they got. I mean, you know. Well, why not do something for ourselves? What about our children? And I'll close with this. If you think I'm lying, look at Salman Rushdie. Oh, some disgruntled Pakistani or whatever, he got mad and he stabbed Salman Rushdie. You know what they said on TV? Well, I tell you this. Salman Rushdie started talking out of the side of his mouth in 1989 and 1990. Salman Rushdie have wore out his welcome. He is not worth millions in guards and security, right? So if you want to know who got Salman Rushdie stabbed, look at Boss Man. Remember, you tell on everybody, you got no more use, they throw you back in there with everybody else. That's the way Boss Man is. He can't help it. Tell the truth, he can't help it. That's what he do. He been doing it. As long as he running things, he gonna keep on doing it. So we ask you, dear believers, let's save ourselves and our children from this monster. Nobody else is gonna do it. Congress ain't gonna do it. And we gotta get busy because it ain't no long time right left. You watch the news, stuff is happening real fast. Thank you very much. Akula Kauli Hala, Wastaghfirullah li wa lakum. O Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief, lack of strength and laziness, cowardice and niggardliness, and being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us what is lawful, keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from want of what is besides thee. Ameen. Ikamati salat.